Everyone's saying now, ooh, what did the players think? What is the what are the user scores saying? User reviews. Let's see this. I want to read. Let's take a look. Just simply a masterpiece. Don't know how they did it after 2018. True. This shouldn't contain spoilers. Don't know. Nope. Best game I've ever played. Damn. Gameplay and story. This game, the scene that shocked me the most was that Thor was killed by Odin and Tyr was actually Odin. I'm also saddened by Brock's death and Sindri's falling out of Atreus. Yeah, true. Odin's death made me happy. At the end, Atreus makes his own choice and Kratos respects him. Long story short, thank you for this game. Damn. Just coming out with everything. Also, November 11th. When did this game come out? Man, these people finished their game way faster than I did. Are you kidding me? 94? Same gameplay, same graphic, same melee, same level design. I swear to real wait, I swear to real God, if you've played God of War 2018, you don't need to buy Ragnarok. False. Wrong. Overrated sadly. Underwhelming first 7 hours. What bad level design with invisible walls. Boring platforming and slow walking. Okay, you got something. The platforming is fine. I think moving from place to place is normally fine. The walking can be pretty slow. Reused old reused old realms and enemies. Good. I'm truly sorry for what happened to God of War series after Cory Barlog took over. The series went from a epic hack and slash game to a corrupted Souls-like that was completely lacking in giganticism, violence, sex scenes, and cool boss battles. I'm generally silent about the plot. Yesho was written by what is Yesho? Wait, what am I reading? I'm generally silent about the plot. Yesho was written by a child from elementary school, and now they are trying to sell DLC for $70. I think this is. Oh, they're saying. Oh, okay. Jesus, I was so confused. DLC for $70. I think this is arrogance and disrespect for users. I hope the second reboot of this series will go better than from 2018. The series will live far more than 1.5 parts. Okay, I know this person did not play the game. You're insane if you think that they added only like a point 0.5 of a new game to this. You're insane. Same old animations, and how many in total? 3 5. Bad graphics, poor art design. Story make no sense. Story make no sense. Story make no sense, guys. Too many please cry moments. Too many please cry moments. Too many please cry moments. Are you for real right now? There's like two. There's like two in the game. Maybe three. And one of them isn't a please cry moment. It's a like, damn, father daughter relationship bad kind of thing. It's like, oh, didn't you have didn't you have a bad family life, dude? That sucks. It's more like that. So I would say there's actually two please cry scenes. There's two. Two. Well, three counting the very end. But Kratos becomes Lebowski? I don't know what that's about. I don't know what that is. Aggressive marketing and lies? What? Bad level design? Grind. Okay, good. Didn't live up to my expectations personally. Really hoped the game would be much better than this. So gave it a 0 out of 0 out of 10. All DLC. A DLC full of bugs, nothing new. A repetitive game full of puzzles and cinematics that cut the gaming experience. Bring your popcorn. I don't. A DLC full of bugs? I hadn't heard anything. None of the reviews I read or we watched had anything about like bugs in the game. I personally, it's a personal thing, didn't run into any except one. I ran into one bug that caused me an issue with a side mission, and that's it. But Jesus, what a disappointment! This can't be industry's best AAA games right now. What? Okay, hold on. This person has a lot to say. Actually, I don't know if this is readable on stream, so we're going to zoom in just a little bit so everyone can read in case. The gameplay did not evolve, and it's all super restrictive. You have to do everything exactly the way the game wants you to, or else you don't move forward. Examples: you have a special skill that lets you shoot a fireball. You have a special skill that shoots a fireball. What? No, you don't. What do you mean you have a special skill? Maybe you're talking about when you like throw out your chain and you like hook it down or something like that. Requires you to light up a candle from a distance. My thought was, okay, I have this new fireball skill. Maybe I can just shoot the fireball to light it up. No. Oh, you do. So you get a runic ability. Um, First off, that's a runic ability. They're not going to make you have to That's bad game design. That's bad game design. Well, I guess you could say it would be better. Okay, I sorry, I still got to turn there. Giving you the ability to use other things by chance, like I was going to say it's bad game design because you're not going to make the solution to a puzzle be something that you must have equipped at that time. I know that's based off of a lot of like Zelda shit. Zelda was doing this because you couldn't have everything like just easily accessible. So you had to go into your inventory, equipped it, then you could use the quick shot or something like that. And normally temples were designed around that where you weren't going to be doing too much switching at the time. But in this, it's like, hey, we're going to give you everything that you need to solve all these puzzles up front. They did it with what's it called? With Breath of the Wild, up front you get pretty much everything you need to solve every puzzle. And that's awesome. That's how it should be. And it's not like you have to go into your inventory to change out your equipment to like do the things. So I think that's a better game design, in my opinion. But being able to use your abilities differently would have been nice. I won't deny that. So they had the runic ability. He thought you could do that to light it up. No. That kind of defeats the purpose of the puzzle and using the other mechanics kind of a thing. So like it's supposed to be difficult, and if they did that with that ability, then you would have that for every puzzle would become meaningless at that point. So they couldn't let you do that. I can understand. Doesn't even affect the candle, even with a direct hit. Instead, you need to use magic arrows to light a path around the wall to have it perform a specific chain bomb skill to complete the puzzle. This type of gameplay is so outdated and frustrating. So outdated. I don't know if it's outdated. Again, what you're saying is that would just defeat the purpose of the puzzle. But okay. The story is unsatisfying. To start off, the start of it is great, but it gets worse the more you play. With all the forced female with all the forced female empowerment moments, unlike all the forced male empowerment moments. What are you talking about? Like, this is the shit that blows my mind. Is that they're like upset about forced female empowerment moments when we're playing a game where you're playing a fucking God of War male character who just fucking destroys and rips apart things. Are you kidding me? And there's too much female empowerment? Are you kidding me right now? All the cringy new characters that you don't care about getting so much screen time and the development. Oh, getting screen time and development. Kratos gets completely neutered in this story. It's not even enough that he doesn't want to fight anymore, but now he takes orders from the worst character in the series, Freya, with her stupid motivations. What is he? What is this person talking about? They gave it a 7, which is, I guess, fine. They understand it's a good game. I don't know if Freya's the worst character in the series. I don't care much for Freya. I'll be honest. But the thing to say that Kratos is neutered, first off, Kratos didn't want to do all this shit before either. He doesn't want to be the God of War. That's not who he is. That's not the point. He doesn't want to do this anymore. That's fine. And also, he doesn't just bend over to Freya. He doesn't want to kill Freya, but he's not going to like die. He's not going to just let Freya kill him, and he's not going to let Freya kill Atreus. If it was Freya over Atreus, he's going to kill Freya. Like, that's obvious. So I don't know why he's saying this, that it's just like he kowtows to Freya, which isn't true. Odin and Thor were great. Of course he thought Odin and Thor were great. Of course he did. I think Odin and Thor are cool. But, I mean, the fact that he says Freya's bad and Odin and Thor are awesome, it's obvious where this person's coming from. But we didn't get enough of them. Odin's motivations were fantastic, and I actually was rooting for him to succeed. Oh, no. It's literally the meme where they're like, I was actually on the Joker's side. I think Joker was actually the good character in the movie. Like, holy shit, dude. Oh my god. Odin's motivations were fantastic, and I actually was rooting for him to succeed because I wanted to know the answers to this question. But now we get a ton of build-up, and they seemingly drop the most interesting part of the story. This person, I don't. I just don't. Okay. You want the answer to the meaning of life. That's what you're asking. You're thinking like this video game's going to give it to you because that's what the question. That's the question that he was asking. You're not going to get a. I mean, you're going to get an answer because it's a video game, but I don't think you'd get a adequate answer because that's a philosophical question that everyone asks that there is no like definitive answer to begin with. But okay, maybe that's what you really wanted, and maybe they could have told a cool story. I'm not lying. It's like denying that, but they could have. So I think the message they were trying to get across better than that. Like the whole thing has been building up to the fact that we don't care about prophecy, we don't care about destiny. You form your own path. You don't need the answers that way. You create the answers. Um, you don't have to. You don't find those answers. You create those answers. You create your destiny. You create your path. That's what the whole story was going towards. Um, Kratos and Atreus carry the game with their performances, but that can only get you so far. By the end, I didn't care anymore because everything else was just so frustrating. Dear Sony, let's retire the Uncharted Naughty Dog formula. It's been 10 years of these walkie talkie movie games where NPCs never ever shut the hell up. Move on, find a new formula for the next generation. I'm so done with this. Damn. Okay. Okay. Um, this walkie-talkie movie games. What are you talking about? There's so much. Like I said, moving from place to place after you've done everything in the map, sure, it can be that way. But when you're doing a puzzle or when you're doing a combat, there was always something you were doing the first time through a section of the game. So, oh well. Unfortunately, this game is not the gem that the first one was. I'm not sure what it is missing, but it's just not as good. The story is boring and confusing. What do you? Okay. I don't know how they got. I don't know how they got confusing. How they get confused by it? Everything was very straightforward. They explain this. They hold on. Maybe this person doesn't talk about it, but the other person just say, yeah, they just talk all the time. It's like they're explaining a lot of the story to you all the time. They're explaining everything that's going on like all the fucking time. I don't know how you could be confused by what's going on. You can think the story is boring. I would disagree. I think that's like it's a pretty big epic that's going on. It's pretty interesting, and the fact that they're taking it from Norse mythology, which a vast majority of people find interesting, I don't know how you could see it's boring, but okay. And the flow is constantly being entered by pointless chores to do. There's a lot to do, but you're never forced to do it. So, sure, I can kind of see where they're coming from. The gameplay is just like the last one, which is good, but they are adding too much extras and taking away from what the game was. What were they taking away by adding? I don't know what they took away. I would like to understand what they took away. The things they added were the different like elemental abilities and stacking of those to do extra damage or to burn people or to imbue your weapons with those abilities. And then they added a new weapon for you to use that added a they had like different health bars that you would have to break down with different weapons or different type of things that you were doing. All of the weapons felt distinct and had their own uses. So I don't know what they added and removed for you that I don't know how what they added extra removed anything for you. Because anything you could do in the first game, you could pretty much do in this game. But okay. Okay. I think this is okay. Also, I feel like they added far too many puzzles. I think that's okay. I think that's a good thing. They did add a lot of puzzles. Most of them were solved very easily and very quickly, so I'm okay with that. They aren't really hard, but it interrupts the flow of the game to a point where it's tedious and annoying. Some of the new elements of the puzzles are just bad. The only element puzzle that I think is iffy is using the arcane arrows because they don't last forever. That's the only thing I would change. So when you shoot the sigil arrows to like extend, it's pretty much you shoot an arrow and it gets like this big bulb and then you can like throw elements into it and it like explodes. You need to use those a few times to link things together. That's cool and all. I like that. That was nice and I found that interesting. But you can only have 3 orbs out at a time. You can make the orbs bigger, so I can make 3 big orbs or 3 small orbs, whatever the fuck. But the first orb you put out only lasts for like, I don't know, maybe 10, 15, no, not more than 10, maybe 20 seconds. Maybe 20 seconds, maybe 30. I think it should just indefinitely stay there until you use it or until you fire a new arrow. I don't think there should be a timer on that because that's the only thing that kind of gave me pause sometimes. And the whole thing is like it interrupts the flow. I don't know if it interrupts the flow, but it definitely gives you something different to do rather than just killing enemies. So that's okay. Level design is annoying. Also, I constantly getting turned around and leaves me to be feeling with a feeling of missing things. I realize the game wants you to come back for to these areas, but still, I don't know if I was ever getting turned around until yeah. I never felt like I was getting lost playing the game. Maybe once or twice because the map doesn't help you. I'll say that up front. The map does not help you that much. The first game was amazing. I couldn't wait. I am 15, 20 hours into this one. At this point, I just can't wait for it to be over. Damn. Yeah, I don't know how you could come into loving the first one, like really loving the first one, and not liking this one. I don't know how that could happen. Attempts too much and delivers too little. A lot of the story seems unnecessary or unoriginal, like Brock dying. It was like Assassin's Creed game all of a sudden, where death is the only thing that inspires vengeance in the player, and important moments are solved off screen in 5 minutes, like unification of Alfheim and the restriction of Hell's army. We spent sure that is a okay thing to say. I think that is a decent thing where, to be fair, they say and important moments are solved off screen in 5 minutes. They're saying this as a big critique. This only happens at the very last part of the game. It literally is the last like 10%, maybe 5% of the game, and that's fine. I can kind of agree with that. That's why I felt it was rushed at the end because a lot of that stuff just kind of it's like, hey, we need to do this thing. It's like, okay, we'll go do it. And then we had our own thing and we did that, so that's fine. And the Brock dying thing, it was like Assassin's Creed game all of a sudden where death is the only thing inspires vengeance in the player. We were always moving down this route. Yeah, I kind of see that. I think that's okay. I think that's an okay thing. Nowhere near enough character development to justify Sif suddenly being a good guy on the fifth line of dialogue in the game, right? It's very, again, so it looks like a lot of, okay, plot armor is apparent and obvious, and it's not clearly hidden from the view like you'd expect. Plot armor. I'm trying to think of other characters with plot armor. So it looks like a lot of their issues were the very end of the game. At least let's keep reading. Core gameplay is fine, but lacks the excitement of being novel. True, sure. The focused triumph of God of War 2018 has been replaced by a rushed game that should have been chopped into two to allow greater exploration of themes and characters. Seminal moments are reduced to backdrops of what was the point of the moments. Large pieces of the game can be removed and nothing changes from the game resolution. Garm Fenrir and the creation of Jormungandr can be removed from the game and nothing about Ragnarok changes. The Garm Fenrir thing, I don't think can be removed. You needed a maybe turning Garm into Fenrir could have been removed, but Garm I think was a very necessary thing to get them back together. They needed some kind of excuse to have Loki fuck up Atreus fuck up and then come back to Kratos and everything. And it was an interesting thing. I think it was an interesting like plot line. I thought it was fine. The whole Jormungandr thing and the creation. I don't know if they clearly don't tell me that they created him. There is a scene where they talk about that, and it's like, wait, did they create Jormungandr there? Is that the creation of Jormungandr? But I don't know. And then they fucking man, that shit I need to look into because I'm super curious about what happened there. Rather than wax clearly about all the game's contradictions, I will simply say, what a disappointment. It fails to deliver in a sprawling mess that can't decide what it wants to do at the end of... wait. Imagine buying a $200 plastic hammer in the hype and getting it for this. Oof. Oof. They still give it a 7, which is pretty good. And it looks like a lot of their issues were... Yeah, I think most of their issues were the end of the game. And specifically the Sif character, which is fine. I can understand that. I do think it could have been broken up into 2 games, and they could have fleshed out that character interactions way more. I can agree with that. But to be fair, in my understanding, everything up into that last 10% of the game, I think was awesome. Was like I honestly could not find like major problems I had with the game when I was doing it. Unbearable puzzles, unbalanced difficulty, full of bugs and horrible textures. Not worth it. Okay, I don't know what you're talking about there. I don't know about. I'm trying to think. There weren't any textures that ever stood out to me, and there definitely wasn't a lot of bugs. But maybe other people are seeing bugs that I haven't seen yet. Many gods and characters did not participate in the war. Jormungandr participated more in 2018 than this one. I don't know if that's true. Probably. Oh yeah, I mean Jormungandr was definitely more in 2018 than this. Yeah. Surtur and Fenrir very poorly used. Fenrir was fine, I think. I don't know. I don't know enough about mythology to like say if they could have used him any better. And maybe I feel like there's going to be a sequel that's going to just be about Atreus, and I'm sure Fenrir will play a bigger part in there. Surtur, yeah, that was a rushed part. Is like that's part of the ending, very rushed. We can barely see the armies fighting. Yep, very rushed. The final fight against Boulder was more epic than the final fight against Thor. Perhaps more epic than this Ragnarok as a whole. The fight against Boulder at the end with the giant was pretty cool. That was a very good. That was a very good fight. So I can see that. I can see that. Odin did not use his eight-legged horse and other resources. It was simplest fight in the entire saga. Nothing different happened. That's not true. You're oversimplifying. They definitely have like terrain things that they didn't do in this fight to like make you move around the arena more. And he definitely did like different kind of abilities. So no, it was different. It wasn't as epic as I wanted it to be, and they could have done more there. I agree there 100%. The gameplay of the final part also had no surprises. Also true. They could have done something where you were what they should have done. I think a really cool, interesting thing they could have done is you should have been going back and forth between Kratos and Atreus at the very end. That would have been very good. We don't use Mjolnir. We don't use the Blade of Olympus. Wait, we don't use the Blade of Olympus. I don't know what that is. Probably from the first game. We don't fight alongside any army. It felt more like any level of the game. For me, until the time when Kratos plays the horn in the post game. For me, until the time when Kratos plays the horn in the post game are 10 out of 10. True. Brightness gave it a 5. Okay. So fairly similar. I wonder if this is going to be a similar thing for people. I don't know. Reviewers probably felt weary of talking about it because it is like endgame stuff. Um, but yeah, very similar sentiments there. Where like everything up until like the very very end, it felt awesome. It's a shame that one of the most epic mythological events happened this way, and we wouldn't even blame the cross gen because God of War 3 and even God of War 4 were more epic. Sad. Sad. Ragnarok is wholly disappointing sequel to Triumph of the God of War 2018 again. Better than some of its parts. Ragnarok is exactly the sum of its parts, lacking the charm and writing polish. Don't know about that. Oh my god. Okay, I'm not reading this whole thing. I'll just skim it. Um, so I think someone messaged me. I guess that is a good question. The only thing I could come up with is that Kratos isn't going to make a deal with any god. He's just not going to. He's like, "Fuck you. I'm going to do what I want." I won't. I will not attack you. I'm not going to do anything. But I'm not doing anything with you. Seems to be mildly to bad reviews to get the truth. God of War. Wait. Seems you need to read the middling to bad reviews to get the truth. God of War Ragnarok has been called a masterpiece by practically every reviewer on the planet, but sadly, it's far from being a masterpiece. The biggest issue with the game is it feels no different to the first game. Stop. The biggest issue that this game feels no different to the first game. Okay, I'll let him finish the sentence before I go off. They've added a few rather pointless elements to the combat and skills, which ultimately just make things feel cluttered and confusing. Okay. Just because something feels very similar to the first game or a prior game does not mean this game cannot also be a masterpiece. If I create a game and that game is considered like, oh my god, this is 10 out of 10, a masterpiece game, then I create a sequel and I use a lot of the similar combat stuff from that game for this, I don't know why you would ever say, oh, it's too similar, therefore it cannot be a masterpiece. That's fucking stupid. Other than those minor changes, it's very linear gameplay. Sure, it's kind of linear. Hold on. Uh, there's cross-gen thing. The amount of very slow crawling. Okay, so this is the first person to talk about this actually. And I don't know if that would have been changed with it not being cross-gen. I feel like part of level design that's just going to be there. I'd be surprising if that was the reason. I keep bringing that up, but I don't think that'd be actually the reason they do it. It's probably just a way from to get to point A to B and have it like believable. Wow. He says, I don't know if it traces more you're training from this game or the last game. I would say the last game. I would say the last game, but he sounded better in the last game. There's so many cutscenes and you cannot skip them. At the beginning of the game, I felt bored and numerous fillers. Graphics looked like they just 2018. Sure, it was fairly similar to that. A lot of answers were just reskinned. Don't care. Wait, that's not true. What do you mean a lot of areas were just reskinned? That's definitely not true. However, towards the end of the game, it really picked up, finished off with one of the best endings. Complete opposite of the last person. Damn. He also the normal person I would say that's been talking about this game. I am so disappointed. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. The game is still okay. There are scenes that are absolutely fantastic. The acting of the main characters, the score, the graphics are great, but overall, it's just not a satisfying experience. The graphics are not improved since part one. That I don't know if that's necessarily a bad thing. They aren't bad, but it is a pity. The gameplay is fine. I don't like what game are we going to compare this to that looks way better? Like, show me a game that looks way better than this game that came out recently. The graphics have not improved since part one. They aren't bad, but the gameplay is fine, although it gets boring fast. Nope. There's too many riddles and combat challenges, and monsters feel like HP sponges above all else. On the higher difficulty, I can see that. The biggest problem is, however, the pacing, the quality of the story. It feels like a roller coaster, going from excellent scene to one boring, generic. Yeah. T sequence that should be optional side quests but aren't. Then we get masterfully done main story bits, then back to boring filler. Sure, I can see that. I would never say it's ever boring. I like everything that happens in the world, so I'm never bored by it. But I can see it like going from like really high moment to really low moment. Mortality and I love the God of War series. I don't know why they put more epic boss fights or more bosses in general. There's a lot of bosses in the game. There's basically only 2, 3 main bosses. What? 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 What are they talking about? Oh wait, when they say main bosses, oh, they're probably thinking like main story bosses. I'm assuming that's what they mean. Because there's a lot of bosses. And there is nothing, I'm trying to think. Is there a boss fight like that of the giant one? I don't think so. It would have been cool. They should have done it. They should have had it. And I wonder if this was if it was cut or you just couldn't. When you're doing when you're at Ragnarok and you're fighting the Odin, the whole point is that they had Ragnarok be held off for a while so that they could just defeat Odin a different way because they didn't want to actually destroy everything with Ragnarok. It would have been cool if then before that maybe you fight Ragnarok to slow him down instead, and that would have been a really epic thing. Or fighting Odin while Ragnarok was going on and trying to like fight off both. That would have been awesome too. That could have been cool. Okay, let's just read like 2 more of these. Fortunately, this was an 8 out of 10, but Sony decided to sell me a $500 system and a $70 disc to download a PS4 game. Also, the writing sucked. What? Okay. I want to read one more bad review. Let's go to her like one of these dumbs. This game has several bugs. The weapons go through the walls. Generic bosses with little innovation. It did not evolve in graphics. It seems like DLC from the last game. Forced inclusion. What the fuck? People say it seems like DLC. Sure. Let's say that's DLC. There's enough content here to say it's $70. There's enough content here to say there's $70. Like, you're insane. Nothing huge or new. Game does not use PS5 level. Wait, not to. Wait, what? Game does not low PS5 level. Dragging story and annoying dialogue. Once you get into it, it feels like you already played it with new skin. Way too many cutscenes. Okay. So $20 an hour. Shut up. Dialogue is. I don't know what that means. Combat repetitive. Touchy, feely, no worky. Oh, the emotion thing. Okay. It's a B movie on rails with underwhelming combat in the middle. Holy God. These people are crazy. Okay. Okay, so we looked through all the reviews, or a good number of them. I'm strong in my opinion. This is a great game. I'm going to be playing Elden Ring here pretty soon, hopefully, and I'll be able to talk to my friend about which one I think is better. But yeah, I think I'll end it here for now. I got to upload this video somewhere, and yeah, that's